VidVox comes from the Sanskrit word. So Vid comes from the Sanskrit word Vidya, which means knowledge, and Vox comes from Latin word which means voice. So our tagline at VidVox is knowledge expressed. We are a team of professionals who have been serving clients and providing advisory services both in India and internationally. We have great advisors who have worked for Tesla, for example, who help us with specific clients' requirements. Our team has worked with obviously leading corporates across functions and across sectors. So this helps to bring diversity when you're working with clients and also different perspectives across different functions and roles that they require help with. We also work with clients across various life cycles of the business. So for example, in the fundraising side, we work with clients right from a seed stage to their Series A, Series B. So we're not very choosy about where they are, their journey. What we're specific about is the quality of the company and the kind of business, their business model. So it's very fundamental we look at. We also believe in having long-term relationship with our clients and growing with them. So the idea is that, when we start working with the company at the early stages, and we help them out and they get the funding or they get growth through us, then we work with them across the life cycle. And as they grow, we grow with them. We work with integrity, professionalism, and dedication to our clients. So what are service offerings? Our service offerings are planning, investment banking, strategy, India entry, and sourcing. For today's presentation, I'll just focus on planning, investment banking, and strategy. So under planning, what do we do? Why is planning important? Planning is basically getting and doing our homework with the founders to make sure that they're aligned to the requirements that they have. So sometimes founders are not sure exactly, for example, how much money do they require? What will their growth be in the next few years, right? What does the market look like? How's their competition behaving? So they need to be aware of all this so that when they go for investor pitches, they're more aware of, and they're able to handle the investor calls, right? Investors are very demanding in terms of information. So the planning phase also helps us prepare them for that. So we advise comes in 4 parts of the planning phase. One is a business plan. So here we work with them and help them create a pitch deck or a business presentation based on who they're pitching to. Then second is the financial model, which is obviously determining what your valuation, how you performed, how will you perform if you get this funding. And it also helps us figure out how much funding do you require. Without this, we will be, again, you shoot a random number out and as you can say a few things, but investors want a good financial plan in place. Competition analysis is to understand who your competitors are. How do you compare to them, right? Sometimes competitions can be direct, sometimes they can be indirect competition. So it's very important to understand who your competitors are and how do you benchmark yourself to those competitors. So if it's a direct competitor, the benchmarks will be very different from an indirect competitor. And lastly, market research. Market research is to understand how big the market is and what is the size of the addressable market for your business or the services you are offering. When it comes to investment banking, so once the planning phase is over, then we work with the founders on helping them raise that fund now, right? The plan is in place. Now they need capital. So we work with investors across various stages. So we work with investor or angel investors. We work with seed round investors. We work with multinational, sorry, not multinational, but established funds like Sequoia or Matrix or one of these companies. And we also started working now with corporate venture funds. Corporates are investing a lot of capital into startups and taking strategic positions. So we also work with corporates. So the 2 services offered here are fundraising, like I said, and the second one is mergers and acquisitions. So there are certain businesses, like I'm working with a couple of startups today, they are struggling to raise capital. They might have a decent business, but because of the market environments or the situation they are in, they may not be able to raise funding. So then what we do is we take them down the road of a merger and acquisition with a larger player in their. The last service we offered is strategy. Strategy is basically providing the clients unbiased feedback using our industry expertise and knowledge. This is also a way of helping us talk to founders to figure out exactly what their plans are And the reason we say unbiased is it's very important because founders are very passionate about what they're building, right? They think they're going to take over the world tomorrow. They're going to disrupt the world, and everybody's going to want the product. But the realities are very different once you start doing it. So we work with them on multiple aspects of the business, right from developing a strategic roadmap for the organization or a business unit. We help them create plans to start or launch new products or enter new markets. And then we also help them create a strategy around M&A. Because sometimes when you're large enough and you have enough capital, the faster way to grow is through acquisitions than through building everything on your own, right? So those are the services. Some of the work that we have done through case studies has helped us in where we are. So Me Tripping is a travel tech company. We helped them raise a seed round funding last year. This year, we're helping them raise a larger round of a series or a pre-series A. Crimson Healthcare, we helped them with the seed round 2 years back in 2020. And now we're helping them raise their larger fund of $1 million. Auric is another company. We helped them with the Series A last year. And currently, they've just signed a contract with a strategic investor who will be acquiring 51%. REV Systems used to belongs to one of our ex-members. So we help them with acquiring this business. On the strategy side, we worked with a couple of companies. So one was EduBioSkills. EduBioSkills has biology courses, which are focused more on schools and colleges. They also have courses for corporates where they basically build lab skills or educate them biology and what are different types of reagents and equipment to be used and how you do that. They also have practice modules built around those classes. So we help them with their business model, competitive strategy, realigning the product portfolio on the strategy based on the strategy that we build, and make sure that the financial model and the business plan reflect the changes. Ascent HR is a 150-200 crore company based out of Bangalore. They were looking at making strategic acquisitions to grow. So we worked with them on assessing which areas should they invest in or companies they should acquire, what should the valuations of the company be, and then we lastly help them with structuring those deals out. Currently, we are working on multiple mandates. So one is the cold chain sector. Here, we are working with the founder to understand whether they should go for a funding round or should they talk to a strategic player to get acquired. They're working with a deep tech startup that's built an AI-based proctoring tool to help monitor online examinations and also for HR interviews. So we are working with them on their fundraise. There's a Bangalore-based D2C company. They are looking to get acquired. So working with the founders on that because fundraising for them is very challenging right now in the current environment. Then there's a travel OTA. It's an app for booking only train tickets. They want to get acquired. So we were talking to some of the largest OTAs in India to help them get acquired. And then on the EV side, we're working with a battery swapping startup. We're helping them raise capital. So like I said, we have a great team. So Manoj, who also advises on our mobility deals and mobility sector, is an ex-Tesla employee. He was Tesla's head for strategy in India. He's moved on now, but he works very closely with us. Some of other clients that we have worked with are Clarici, Drug Ocean, Bacteria, Goa, Vilas for Rent. So these are some of the companies.